Hey, this is Jason Howarth with Panini. You're listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show. There is no off season.
This is Adam Rips with VFriends. I'm loving the content here on the Sports Card Strategy Show and the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network. There is no off season.
What's up, everybody? I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. This is the Sports Card Strategy Show. Don't forget to get a free 30-day trial at NoOffSeason.com today to help you make money flipping sports cards, build your sports card investment portfolio, get unlimited advice from our experts, and take sports card school to navigate the hobby. That's NoOffSeason.com. Get your free 30-day trial today. All the data we use on the Sports Card Strategy Show is from MarketMoversApp.com. Use code NOOFFSEASON at MarketMoversApp.com to get 20% off for life after a free 14-day trial. All right, let's get to the Sports Card Strategy. What is up, everybody? NoOffSeason.com fam. In the house, I am Paul Hickey. This is the Sports Card Strategy Show on the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network. Monday, August 26th. We got a phenomenal show for you guys today. Of course, we're going to talk about our top 5 cards to buy raw and grade, and they are on fire. There's some amazing opportunities to do some grading of raw cards and make a ton of money. eBay has finally implemented a feature that I've wanted for so long. I've talked about it for so long. I've talked to people at eBay about it. I talked to them at the National. I doubt seriously that they implemented this feature because of the conversation I had with them at the National, but you never know. They've got it, and I'm going to give it to you later on in this episode, so get pumped for that. Also, I want to follow up on what Lefty and I talked about last week in terms of our Panini instant plays. We unlocked something on Wednesday's episode, everybody, about what you can do to make money at the beginning of this NFL season with the Panini instant drops that are happening. Panini trying to grab as much cash as they possibly can from the hobby, dropping Panini instant cards of top rookies like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and more. So stay tuned for that. There is a big update on that strategy that I want to let you guys know about. There's so much to talk about today. It's ridiculous. Caitlyn Clark auction profits. My Caitlyn Clark Panini Instant PSA auctions ended last night. And I want to tell you about how the auctions did. So stay tuned for that. Dylan Cruz got the call up, expected to make his Nationals debut tonight. He got the call up. Should there be a Dylan Cruz sell alert? How do you handle this? It is the call up. Text sports cards to 1-833-992-5727 to get your sell alerts. That's sports cards to 1-833-992-5727. And we are about to start refreshing Sports Card School in September. It's almost September, so there will be more great content at NoOffSeason.com. Get a free 30-day trial today at NoOffSeason.com if you're not already a premium member. And I want to apologize to a couple people who signed up for that free 30-day trial earlier this morning. We had a slight glitch on our website. We had to restore from a backup from last night. So there were 2 people that signed up for a free 30-day trial. I've already emailed them. Their accounts got wiped out. So the good news for them is the website isn't having any problems. It's purring like a kitten, of course. The bad news is that they just have to go and get their free 30-day trial again. So hopefully both of them will do that and they won't miss out on the great content there. Let's say hello to the live chat before we get into our top 5 sports card opportunities to buy raw and grade, and then the rest of today's discussion. Oh, my Shoes in the house. Good to see Shoes. Scott Mann in the house. Sergeant Slabs in the house. Says Monday Mayhem with the Dave Ramsey of sports cards, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Paul Hickey. Thanks for the love, everybody. George Scherer, Eric Grunberger, good to see you. And Koa Carrero, good to see all of you. When you're in the live chat, I will give you a shout out here at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Thanks for streaming with us. And for those of you listening on Apple and Spotify right now, thanks to you as well. Go to Sports Card Strategy on Instagram. drop me a DM, make a comment on one of our posts, and I'll get right back to you. All right, everybody, are you ready to start grading your cards? CGC Cards is the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today. And one play I've made actually involving CGC is I've gone back and started to buy the old green label slabs. Not all of them, but just slabs for top players that I really like, rookie cards of players. You know, I bought a Jordan Love Donruss base, CGC. It's a CGC 10, but it was in a green slab, so it's technically in a CSG 9.5. So the play there is for $5. For $5, you can send that old green label into CGC, and they will reslab it and give it the new black label 10. So why would you do that? Well, the grading scale changed, and they've honored that all 9.5s in the green label will get 10s in the black label. So a 10's better than a 9.5. It'll sell better on the secondary market for only $5. You can go ahead and do that. I've started to accumulate some of those CGC green label gem mints in the 9.5 grades. I'm going to send them in to CGC myself, and I'll report back to you on that play. And I'm going to sell them in the CGC slabs. So I'm excited about that. All right. Now, as most of you know, I do all of my grading with PSA, even though CGC is a sponsor of this show. The reason I do that is because I want to maximize profits on the secondary market right now. Now, I will start grading more cards with CGC, but what we're about to go through on our top 5 sports card opportunities to buy, raw, and grade are grading with PSA. Now, you can get all of this and more by going to nooffseason.com, getting a free 30-day trial. For those of you who are already premium members, you already know this. Our formula-based sports card rankings are the best thing in the sports card hobby because it's not just a data tool that shows you data. In fact, it's a data tool that recommends which cards you should buy. So it's a recommendation engine based on the sales data, raw, PSA 9, PSA 10, gem rate, and it takes out all of your fees. So it gives you a total ROI based on real profit margin. So let's get into the freshly updated formula-based sports card rankings and the top 5 opportunities on the rankings right now to make the most ROI. So for those of you out there, like anyone can make money grading cards, right? All you need is a PSA 10 from a raw card, but you want to prioritize. You want to prioritize not just the highest upside from a raw to a PSA 10, but you want to prioritize based on all of those different factors that I mentioned. What's the upside of a PSA 9? What's the gem rate? You know, what's the likelihood that if you were going to do a bulk submission across multiple cards that you would get ROI? So with millions and millions of cards to choose from, we just want you to prioritize. So this list may shock you, but this is our top 5, and I'm excited to get into it because the number 5 card this week in the countdown is a player that we haven't mentioned on the Sports Card Strategy Show in a long time. And I bet that I could give you at least 100 guesses and you probably still wouldn't get it. So I'm just going to give it to you because he plays this Saturday, August 31st at noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central time. So if you already have graded cards of his, you might want to follow that game and list his cards if they pop off. So on the other side of that, the formula is saying that if you buy this particular card right now and grade it, that it has high upside. And I actually really like the timing of this. The player is Penn State quarterback Drew Aller. He plays at West Virginia for the number 8 Nittany Lions at West Virginia this Saturday at noon Eastern time. So this is a very, very calculated, specific sports card strategy. But if you are already holding cards like his 2022 Bowman Chrome U number 59 first prospect auto refractor. And it's already graded. Maybe it's a PSA 10. Maybe it's a PSA 9. Depending on what you paid in for that card. You may want to go ahead and follow that Penn State Nittany Lions game on Saturday. If Drew Aller has an outstanding game, you can bet your butts that his search volume will go up on eBay. And when his search volume goes up on eBay, the bids go up. The watches and the bids go up. And so what you want to do is you want to pit people against each other. Now, on the other side of that, you can buy this card raw. Drew Aller's 2022 Bowman Chrome U 59 first prospect auto refractor raw. Most recent comp, $45. It's recently sold in a PSA 10 for $250. But that was back in May. That's the most recent sale. That's the most recent comp back in May. The PSA 9 recently sold for $65. The formula tells us that this raw to grade, all in, including your grading fee, including your shipping, all of that stuff, your total net profit after eBay fees and everything is 90% on this card. Now, that's good news because this is the beginning of the college football season. Now, Drew Aller, he could be a sell this week if you already have his card. On the other hand, he's also a buy raw and grade play because even though you might not get that card back until October or November, if you were to buy it now and grade it, what are the Nittany Lions going to be doing in November? They're going to be playing in some big A games, right? So if Drew Aller stays healthy, and if he plays well throughout the season for a top 10 team competing for the first ever college football playoff berth extended past those 4 teams, right? So you have an extended college football playoff this year. So you could see Drew Aller and other cards of his and this card in particular go up when you get it back from PSA. So it's a risk. It's a risk because, like I said, he could be a sell this week. But the formula tells us that not only is there upside in a PSA 10 right now, but everything we know about what happens during the football season is that there could even be more upside in a PSA 10 later on. So this could be a great raw to grade play if you can find a $45 raw gradable version of this, which somebody just did. It's a 90% ROI, everybody. 90% ROI. Now, the card on this episode's thumbnail is next, and its market has simmered down a little bit since it was a new release a couple of months ago, which is great. It's good news for us. Ellie De La Cruz, his 2024 Topps Chrome number 44 base is going for about $7. That's the target cost. It has upside in a PSA 10 of $95. And the gem rate out of the gate is high enough to give this fucker a 92% ROI. So this is a little bit more straightforward than your Drew Aller play because Ellie and this card, even though it's baseball season, and even though Ellie's having a heck of a season, this card should actually sustain value probably heading into March 2025 and maybe even July 2025. It should be hot, probably in each of those 2 months. So the play with this Ellie card is to buy it, scoop it up, grade it, sell it when you get it back because it'll probably be late October. And then maybe, depending on what the market says, you even hold a copy or two for March. But you can make 92% ROI on this card because everyone's still trying to be kind of second to the market on it. Like somebody's already out there selling some PSA 10s. So we're not going to be first to the market, but it's good that we have the data. And the data is telling us right now there's upside enough in Ellie De La Cruz's 2024 Topps Chrome base 44. 92% upside. So even if that card goes down, which probably will happen, you're still looking at a profit, a pretty darn good profit after your fees. So saying hello to Johnny Cashville in the live chat. Scott Mann says he has about 10 of those on their way to PSA, the Ellie De La Cruz. And Signs of the Times collectibles in the house. Our guy Tim Larson, Signs of the Times vintage collectibles, says sell that fucker. All right, Tim, what's up, baby? Good to see you. Now, speaking of sell that fucker, the third card on our list is similar to the first card in that there could be a sell alert coming for this card soon in PSA 10. In fact, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I love myself because I bought this card in a PSA 10 last December. I told all of you about it on the Sports Card Strategy Show, and then I sold it in late July at the National, and I made like $150 cash profit from the transaction. It's Joe Burrow's 2020 Optic 151. Optic Hollow 151. And the hollow is an important detail there because it's a much more expensive card. And from a raw to grade standpoint, the formula tells us that much like Drew Aller's Bowman Chrome first prospect auto out of a refractor out of $499 from 2022, Joe Burrow's 2020 Optic Hollow Raw 151 is a 96% ROI from a raw to grade standpoint. It's $115 target cost for a raw card, so it's not cheap. But the latest PSA 10 data tells us that it's going for $539 in PSA 10 and $175 in PSA 9. So even if you can get a gradable copy that won't gem, but looks like it could 9, looks like it will 9 and potentially gem, you can get a 96% ROI on that. And we're talking about Joe Burrow here. So even though we're not getting it back in September, we're probably getting it back in November. It is Joe Burrow. And so if he is having a good season with the Bengals and looking like they could make it to the playoffs, Jim Mora Sr., playoffs, I said to do it one more time. Then this card could go up. This card's floor is like $385. It's a $385 floor card. Worst case, it's a $350 floor card. So like to buy it raw and grade it is the move, especially when the formula tells you 96% ROI, even though it is basically September right now. So you can still get it back during football season if you move on it now. And another card that's similar to that would be a little bit risky to buy now and grade, especially because this guy just hit his 50th and 51st homers yesterday and is on pace to break his own AL home run record. But Aaron Judge's 2017 Topps 287 base has a $21 buy-in raw and now a $176 upside in a PSA 10. A very high gem rate for a 2017 card, 54% gem rate. That is 103% ROI on that card. So a lot of cards kind of fitting the theme of, look, even though there could be a sell alert for this, because we might send out a sell alert for Judge later this week because his cards are up big time. You can text sports cards to 1-833-992-5727. I wasn't lying at the beginning of the show when I just said there's a ridiculous amount happening in the sports card hobby right now. It's super exciting. Hard to keep up with it all. That's why you need to tune into the Sports Card Strategy Show and go to nooffseason.com all day, every day, because we are keeping you up to date on everything, all the opportunities. But Aaron Judge's 2017 Topps 287 base, $21 to buy raw, high upside in a PSA 10. Again, if you do it now, you're probably not going to get it back until late October, early November. Maybe he wins the AL home run. He will win the AL home run award. He probably will win the AL MVP. Maybe he takes the Yanks to a World Series. There could be a phenomenal crescendo sell alert also on Judge at the end of October, and you could have that card back and cash in on that 103% ROI plus on that. Like Drew Aller, like Joe Burrow, this Aaron Judge card could be a phenomenal parlay. That's what happened with me with my Paul Skeens play. You know, I followed the formula. I bought Paul Skeens Bowman Chrome first prospect auto, base autos raw. I bought them in May for about $220, one for $220, one for $250. and got him graded. And by the time I got him back, it was July, and his market had crescendoed at the All-Star break. And I cashed in way more than the formula even told me I would because of the performance spike. So I'm giving you these opportunities now because the Aller, the Burrow, and the Judge could fit that. The De La Cruz probably won't, just because of how the Reds season is going. But because it is Elly De La Cruz and it is a 92% ROI, I'm confident in giving that as a recommendation to all of you to go ahead and do. The final one, I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see this because as I mentioned, the college football season is underway. I talked about Drew Aller playing on Saturday. For those of you that don't know, this past Saturday was the first game of the college football season. Georgia Tech upset Florida State 24-21. So a number 10 team goes down. But the guy that I have invested the most amount of money in for the last 18 months plays Thursday night. He plays Thursday night at home, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time, prime time game. Prime time, funnily enough, is his father. I'm talking about Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Shiloh Sanders, and Coach Prime host the North Dakota State Bison. Now, do I expect Shedeur Sanders prices to move a ton on Thursday night? Not really, unless he comes out and throws like 6 touchdowns or throws 4 rushes for 2. It could happen against the Bison of North Dakota State. It could happen. I mean, if Shedeur looks good, if the Buffs look good, there could be a Shedeur Sanders sell alert on Thursday night. I'm not saying to list your Shedeur Sanders cards now. That's not what I'm saying, because we've all paid a lot of money buying into Shedeur. He has never been cheap. His Onyx cards were cheap 3 years ago when Lefty and I bought them. We told you to buy them. We flipped them last fall. That opportunity has come and gone. The more recent Shedeur opportunity that I've talked about over the last 18 months has been his Bowman Chrome first prospect autos. I've invested heavily in them. I've got low serial numbered versions of them. I've got some PSA 10s of them. So I'm excited to sell them, but I'm not going to jump the gun and just list them now because I don't know that his auctions would perform well now. I think Shedeur needs to have a performance spike for his auctions to perform well. And so my strategy with Shedeur Sanders is going to be, and I'll talk more about this in future episodes, but my strategy with a lot of these college quarterbacks that I've bought into Carson Beck. I bought into Riley Leonard. We talked about Drew Aller a minute ago. I bought into all these guys and I'm ready to sell them, but my strategy is going to be get the drafts ready in my eBay account. And then when they absolutely pop off, ball out, when they make light work of their opponent, and they look great in the stat column, and I see that their eBay search volume starts to go up and they're being added to watch lists, that's when I'll list. I might be on Thursday night listing Shedeur cards. I might be on Thursday night listing Travis Hunter cards. But here's the thing. Shedeur Sanders at the same time, it's funny how this all works out. And when you reverse engineer the formula, it does make sense. His 2023 Bowman Chrome U first prospect auto has a 177% ROI on it right now. So it is the number 1 card in the raw to grade formula-based rankings today. And I think for a very similar reason that Aaron Judge, in fairness, has been up in the top 5 in the raw to grade. That same card, his Topps Chrome and his Topps Base from 2017. In fairness, the formula has been right on that all season because since dating all the way back to March, the formula has spit that out as a top raw to grade card. And you're welcome, because for those of you that bought that, got it graded, you're making a lot of money right now because Judge is also having a great season. The same could happen with Shedeur. So when you reverse engineer the formula, it does make sense, because if he had a PSA 9 sell recently for $228 of that card, the Bowman Chrome First Prospect Auto. That's the main reason why this card has vaulted up in the formula-based rankings, because now there's just as much upside in a PSA 9 as there is in a PSA 10, because a PSA 10 sold for $300 and then a PSA 10 sold for $252. So we're taking the $252 because we're conservative, but even if you were to average that out, $275, I mean, that's a 200% ROI on a raw to grade on this card. So because I think Shedeur really is going to benefit from performance spikes this year, and I do think he'll play well, I am endorsing this as a play. If you can get Shedeur's 2023 Bowman Chrome First Prospect Auto for $45, which somebody just did, that's the target cost. Get it graded at PSA. There's a 53% gem rate. You have an upside of probably more than 252 in a PSA 10, because I think that's going to go up. That's 177% safe ROI on this. So I'm excited to see Shedeur at the top of the rankings. It's interesting that I might be selling my Shedeur cards during the same 2-week period that I might also be buying in to more Shedeur cards, right? Because the numbers make sense. The numbers make sense on the PSA 10 side and on the raw to grade side. So those are our top 5. And there aren't many episodes on a Monday show where we do our top 5 sports card opportunities to buy raw and grade where all 5 are above 90% ROI. But today we just went ahead and gave them to you, and let's go make some money. So Arturo Torres is in the house. Jake Herbst is in the house. Ben T and Lincoln Cards are in the house. Good to see all of you. Let's talk about a feature that eBay just implemented that I'm very excited about, because I had never seen this before. And I had looked for it for my whole life. My entire life of buying and selling sports cards, I have looked for this feature. And if you go to your eBay seller hub, you don't see it on mobile, but you see it on desktop. So go to your eBay seller hub on desktop and go to listings. And if you have any buy it now or best offer listings, which I know many of you do, you can now click on one of them. And I'm going to click on my Hendon Hooker, because I've got 3 Hendon Hooker buy it now or best offer listings right now. You can click the down arrow in the actions column next to edit, and you can click change to auction. Thank God. Finally, eBay implemented this feature. You used to have to cancel that listing and relist it new as an auction, which was a pain in the butt. Now, eBay's saving us some time, and I'm saving you some time, bringing you how to do this, right? Like how to do this. You go and then you can change it from a buy it now or best offer to an auction, which, like, I mean, look, if Jared Goff gets hurt in week 1, I'm rushing to my computer and I'm changing my Hendon Hooker buy it now. I'm either upping the price on them or I'm changing them to auctions. But this is a massive time saver, because look, you don't have to download the photos again. You don't have to, look, if you're selling hundreds of cards like I am all the time, or even dozens of cards, which many of you are, then this is a massive time saver. So the eBay has implemented the new change to auctions feature. Thank you, eBay. Really, really appreciate that. And looking forward to using it soon. Let me know in the comments at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Have you used this feature? Like, how many, are you a buy it now or best offer person? Are you an auction first person? A lot of us, I've recommended a lot of people, listeners of the show, as well as premium members at nooffseason.com and one-on-one members at nooffseason.com. First list in a buy it now or best offer, and then change to auction later. Lincoln Cards, my eBay is no off-season sports cards. So just find no off-season sports cards on eBay. You'll see it, and appreciate you checking it out. Thanks for asking. If you want any of your questions answered, many of you are asking questions in the live chat. I appreciate that. If you want any of your questions answered, best way to do it, go to nooffseason.com/ask. And if you're not a premium member already, just get a free 30-day trial. It's free. And I'll answer on our premium pod on Fridays. So you'll get a taste of our premium podcasts, our premium content behind the paywall, Sports Card School, our formula-based rankings, free for 30 days. So I see many of you asking questions in the live chat. I appreciate your questions. Thank you for that. But I would say best thing to do, getting the best answer. Lefty and I put in time. We put in research. We give you the best answers on the premium pod. So go to nooffseason.com/ask and ask your questions. Arrowwood's Hobby Shop's in the house. Says appreciate the content as always. Scott Mann says just spent time canceling a bunch of auctions. This will be a game changer. Yeah, totally. Another game changer that I'm about to give you guys, like so much value given away for free on the show. That another one is, so Lefty and I talked on last Wednesday's show about Panini instant opportunities. So we kind of had a breakthrough on the show, and it was Bo Nix had been named the starter by the Denver Broncos during the show last Wednesday. And so we wanted to figure out a way, like, is there a way? Let's challenge ourselves to find a way in front of the audience live to capitalize on this opportunity of Bo Nix being named the starter. I currently wasn't holding any Bo Nix cards. Looked like he had only had college cards out. We went to PaniniAmerica.net and we found 2 Bo Nix Panini instant cards. And we started looking at the sold listings on those cards. And we did the math and we said, okay, if we buy 25 of these, it lowers our acquisition cost per card to under $4. Add the grading fee and shipping. If we want to get these graded, they're going to be around $21, $22, but there's probably not going to be the best opportunity to get them graded because we don't want to wait till November to get them back. So what if we just sold them now raw? Well, we started to look at the sold data of the 2 Panini Instant Bo Nix cards, and we noticed they were going for about $7.50. We did some rough math and we said, okay, if we can acquire these from PaniniAmerica.net in 25 card packs for less than $4 per card, and we can sell them for $7.50, eBay's going to take out some transaction fees. We're going to have to pay, the buyer's going to pay like eBay standard envelope for shipping, so we're going to have to account for that. Still, we could probably come close to 2xing these cards based on what's happening at the time. So Lefty and I decided, we bought 50 of them on the show. I decided I would auction off 25 of them and sell 25 of them in a buy it now or best offer format. That worked so well for me initially. Now, these are pre-sales, right? So that's the other thing is, like, you have to list on eBay that this is a pre-sale. So you have to disclose that you don't have these cards. You just put pre-sale in the title, and in the description, you have to disclose, I don't have these cards, but I will send them to you as soon as I get them from Panini. So what started happening is I started getting offers on the buy it now version. Started accepting offers, also put up auctions. Now, at the time that Lefty and I did this on last Wednesday, there were still about 3 days left. So we knew that there wasn't going to be a whole lot of action until after those 3 days expired, aka no one could go back to PaniniAmerica.net and get them anymore. So the thought is, like, even when they're available on PaniniAmerica.net, you can pre-sell them and make money, because if somebody just wants one of them, it's going to cost them like $11 or $12 all in to get them from Panini. And it's only going to cost them like $8 or $9 all in to get them from you in your pre-sale. So you're actually you're selling them for less than Panini raw through a pre-sale. So that worked so well, but it got my mind thinking, look, what if there's 3 days left in a Panini Instant card? Why not pre-sell them before you buy them? Let me say that again. Why not pre-sell them before you even buy them? Because if you go buy them and then list the pre-sale, you've increased your risk, because now what if the player gets injured? What if they don't sell as well as you thought they would? What if and you're not taking such a huge risk, but you're still spending a couple $100 on a card, or at least $100 on a card if you buy 25 of them. So I started to think, why would I take the risk initially and buy the cards and then pre-sell them? Why wouldn't I test out the waters of pre-selling them before I buy them? And then that way I give myself a few more days in some cases, or at least one more day, to decide if I want to buy them. Because if somebody buys them from me, now I have to buy them. I have to rush to PaniniAmerica.net and buy them. But I know that as long as I buy them before the time expires, I'm going to get them. So there's really no worry of pre-selling a card, getting an order on eBay, and then not being able to get them unless you just totally forget that there's a deadline on PaniniAmerica.net and you miss the deadline. But I'm thinking the worst case scenario is like I buy a card, the worst case scenario is I list a card that I haven't ordered yet. Nobody buys it. And then I just take down the listing so I don't buy it, right? I don't buy it because nobody bought it from me. But if somebody buys it from me, I got to rush to buy it. And now at least I have a sale to justify the purchase. And there's sales data that would then trickle down to future sales, because people follow the leader and they say, oh, well, this Caleb Williams Panini Instant sold for $8. I'll buy it for $8, right? So that's what I did. I bought Caleb Williams. I listed before I bought it, Caleb Williams card number 13. I sold 10 of them like right away. And so that was like $90. And so then I went and bought them and that totally reduces your risk. So the concept of, this is not super turnkey. It's not set it and forget it. Don't just go buy any Panini Instant card of any player. It's got to be a player in the scenario of like a Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, who didn't really have any other cards out, any pro uniform cards or anything like that with the RC Shield. It's got to be a desirable player who's playing well or in the news or something like that for you to be able to like list the card before you even have it, make the sale. But I did it with 2 Caleb Williams cards, 1 Jaden Daniels card, 2 Bo Nix cards. And then the other side of it is once everything expires, now it makes sense to maybe list it in some auctions, because now they can't get it anywhere. They can't get it on PaniniAmerica.net. Or it makes sense to raise the price of your buy it now, even though maybe you sold one for $8.50 while Panini America had it available. Now that Panini America doesn't have it available anymore, double that, right? Because now if Caleb Williams pops off in week 1, Jaden Daniels, etc., Bo Nix, etc., now those Panini Instant cards are going to be worth a lot of money. Everyone's going to go want them because it's the first rookie card in a pro uniform licensed for those cats, and people are going to want them. So this Panini Instant went from, hey, maybe we've got to be first to the market with gradable cards to, wait a minute, there's an opportunity with the pre-sale here. And then it went to, what if we pre-sell it before we even order it ourselves? Almost like a drop shipping type situation. So definitely somewhere I never thought I'd see myself, but I'm here and making money doing it, and just wanted to let all of you know about it. So hopefully you like it. Now, speaking of Panini Instant, possibly my most profitable play of all time has occurred last night. All my auctions are paid for. And it's Caitlyn Clark. So several months ago on the Sports Card Strategy Show, I let you guys know that I bought 25 Panini Instant Caitlyn Clark DN1 cards. So this is a draft night card number 1 where she's holding up her Indiana Fever jersey. The reason why I thought that was going to be a card to buy is because out of all Caitlyn Clark cards, that was basically her first WNBA licensed card with a Fever logo on it. And she was holding up her Fever jersey and it was draft night. And I thought, this looks like it could be a card that everyone will want. And I gambled a little bit because typically Panini Instant cards don't grade well at PSA. There's usually some flaws in the card, and the way that they package and ship the card doesn't do that any favors in terms of the condition. So typically Kendall and I have been in a situation with our Panini Instant cards, and most of you in the nooffseason.com fam can relate to this when you've done it. They don't grade well, but I would say I got pretty lucky. As soon as my Caitlyn Clark DN1 cards got back to me from Panini, I immediately shipped them to PSA that same day. And they came back and I had 21 10s, 3 9s, and 1 7. Let me say that again. I had 21 10s, 3 9s, and 1 7. I immediately listed them for auction starting. I listed them in 10-day auctions, trickled them out, spaced them out about 15 minutes from one another. And I said, I've got 25 of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 21 10s and I'm going to list 5, 5, 5, and 6. And I'm going to do 1 on Friday. I'm going to do 5 on Friday, 5 on Saturday, 6 on Sunday. And they're going to be 7-day auctions. And so fast forward to yesterday, Sunday, August 25th. All of them had ended. All of them had been paid for in terms of the 21 10s. Even 2 of the 9s have already been paid for. So there's 1 9 and 1 7 that are still up for auction. And so far, my total net profit. This means that buying all the cards, paying for the grading fee, shipping, sales tax, eBay fees, all of that have been taken out of this number. My total net profit is $2,442. $2,442. Now, all in on this play, really, I was only all in about $350 cards plus grading fee. That's it. So I needed to spend $350 to net $2,442. I've had some other plays similar to this. Victor Wembanyama, Sports Illustrated for Kids. There's been Victor Wembanyama 2 tops now plays that went very similar to this. But this Caitlyn Clark Panini Instant play, I think, takes the cake because one of them sold for $200. I mean, these things sold for between $150 and $200 in PSA 10. The 9s sold for between $40 and $50. Who knows what the 7 sells for, but it doesn't even matter at this point. I will profit $2,500 on this plus because, like I said, one of the 9s and the 7 still up for auction. I've already netted $2,442. So it's making me analyze even further what Panini Instant, what Topps Now cards make the most sense to dive into, right? And can we, can and should we be investing in these? Southern Soccer Idiot in the house. Good to see you. He says, everyone drop a like for my man, Paul Hickey. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, please like this video and comment at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Even if you're listening on the podcast apps, which most of you are, we appreciate the support over at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Real quick, Sports Card School refresh coming in September. We've got a lot of great feedback on Sports Card School. There's really nothing else in the hobby like our formula-based rankings. There's nothing else in the hobby like the premium pod. There's nothing else in the hobby like the Sports Card School lessons. And we are making them even better. We are refreshing Sports Card School in September. One more reason to make sure that you are a premium member at nooffseason.com. Also, on Mondays, we talk a lot about card grading, right? And another reason to make sure that you are a paid active member at nooffseason.com is new services and benefits for paid members free of charge card analysis and grading submission services. How it works is you ship me your cards. I prep your cards for grading. You get discounts on grading submissions, bypass minimum card submissions, and in some cases, shipping fees and max declared value limits. It's $25 per card submitted. Services include analysis, grading, prep, submission, and shipping back to you. I will also crack any slabs for you as part of this $25 per card fee. The grading fee is included, though. Submit an unlimited amount of cards for our review, grading, and consignment. It just makes financial sense because you don't have to pay for the PSA Collectors Club membership. You don't have to have the minimum amount of cards. You can ship me any amount of cards. You just have to be a paid active member. Active meaning your subscription is active. It's not pending cancellation. It's not any of those things. It's a paid active subscription, and you will get some phenomenal benefits related to these grading services. Coming up on Wednesday's show with Lefty, we're going to talk about upcoming releases. We're going to break down further the whole Dylan Cruz, Aaron Judge, should you sell, should you hold, when and how should you sell situation for those guys. We're going to dive deep into college football matchups for the weekend and what college football cards you might be holding and what you might need to do this weekend with your college football cards. We're keeping you informed here at the Sports Card Strategy Show. We love all of you. Thank you so much for your support. For everyone here at nooffseason.com, I'm Paul Hickey. Everybody have a great day. Let's make some money. Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. To connect with us further, please subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Please also give us a follow on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy and on X at NoOffSeasonCard. We also have a Discord that you could join at sportscardstrategy.com. Everyone, I'm Paul Hickey. For the rest of us here at nooffseason.com, have a great day. We'll see you again soon.